Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Grand River Unitarian Congregation. We have a few more people to be seated. Please be seated. Thank you. Good morning. And welcome again. We're so happy to see you all here for this special occasion. My name is Christa and Daele, and I'm the service leader this morning. I've been in the congregation for 30 or so years. Welcome. We often like to say straight up on a Sunday morning that no two Unitarian services are alike. And in this month of March alone, while the weather has changed repeatedly, we've enjoyed a series of lay-led services on a wide variety of themes, as unpredictable as the weather. If you are new or a visitor to our church this morning, we bid you an extra warm welcome. We encourage you to try several services to sort out the rhythms and patterns of our style of worship. For the unique atmosphere that artful worship music provides, we are grateful this morning for the music of Vladimir Djurovic, our pianist. And also Jay Moore, a longtime congregation member. These friends provide our spirits with experiences that go beyond words. Wherever you are in your journey, we bid you welcome. Whether it's your first time in worship or the 100th time, we hope that you will find here questions that stir you and music that uplifts you, people who connect with you, and places of humility as we renew the daily struggle of learning to work with each other in fellowship. We strive to walk justly and to welcome the other with open arms. We also strive to learn not only what we already know, but what we don't know, what we are curious about, and what we might be embarrassed to admit our ignorance around. We strive to build room for our spirits when we are distracted by the worrying issues of this world. So we would like to say that today is a service that Defending Democracy has truly been looking forward to. We are excited. We hope you are too. We believe that the service and the Tea for Tales event reflects our congregation's common aim to engage diversity whenever possible, to learn from others in so many ways. Our service this morning brings together Grand River Unitarian with a vibrant community organization that has achieved remarkable milestones in advocacy and public education in the last 15 years. And I'd like to share just a tiny sliver of their accomplishments. They have worked on so many impressive fronts, as even a quick glance at their website would tell you. The front of developing thoughtful leaders and speakers among young women, and indeed, women of all ages. Also, the skills of honing sociological evaluation and research tools to achieve complex community aims for a more enlightened, peaceful community. And of shaping partnerships and consultations with universities and civic leaders to promote further growth and understanding in our community. And I know that these public conversations are often around challenging issues, not the easy ones. All this while, the women of the congregation of the coalition have not forgotten the dimension of human friendship, of humor and spontaneity, of good food and dialogue, all of it building lasting affection and respect among strangers. I remember when the coalition featured a West Coast Muslim woman comedy artist back in 2012 in their annual event at Kitchener City Hall, and it was called Unveil the Fun with Muslim Women. They know how to have a good time. I have personally been a recipient of their style of hospitality in a project I worked on during COVID, and it much lifted my spirits at that time. The women of the coalition have won countless civic awards for their efforts, and in fact, the reports, the papers, focus groups, and partnerships that they have undertaken over the last period of years are almost overwhelming to take in and to absorb. So we'll just share a little bit about this morning's intentions, this morning's plans. How will we look at this topic of connecting from the heart? Well, here's our hope. We've worked as a group on this, and the Defending Democracy group has really taken the approach of entering into dialogue with the coalition. So we've had a series of friendly meetings in their space, and together we looked at some of the questions and concerns that we struggle with in our work as we talk about defending democracy, which has such a broad scope. We wanted to move into their places of strength. So we asked questions like, okay, how do we move from places of anxiety and negativity to places of strength in the practices of defending democracy? We met a few times, and we listened, and they welcomed our questions. So the logistics go like this. At the end of the service, we are offering the opportunity of having you sit down at those tables that you saw when you came up, and there are room for 50 of you at these tables. So it's a little bit of a decision about whether you would like to sit at the tables or whether you would like to do your usual routines and mingle about and have coffee. So our hosts are requesting that those of you who decide to take part in this way make a little bit of a commitment to stay for about 50 minutes at the table to really engage in that conversation rather than flitting from table to table. So if you want to take part in this opportunity, it might be good while you're reflecting during the service to think, well, is that something I would like to do, or do I need to move on with my usual Sunday routines? Fauzia will say more about these things at the end of her reflection, and she will share a philosophy of how this came to be, how they approach this, because they've worked at this kind of approach for some time. We have some announcements, starting with Margaret, President of the Board.
Yes, thank you. I'm Margaret Inslee, current board president, and I'm just up here to give you a little push and a little nag to always read your weekly tab. There really is so much going on right now. So in this week's tab, we have an announcement about the music director search, an update about that. We have announcement from the search team, and I'll just give you a little précis that our profile, our Grand River Unitarian Congregation profile is complete, and we'll be submitting it today. And on April 1st, ministerial candidates will be able to view that profile, and we're hoping for a good response because we think we've made us look really good. And no deception was required at all. And then also, thanks to everyone who filled out the recent survey. That was an email was sent out with a summary of the results. If you didn't receive that email, then maybe speak to me or to Kristen after the service. Kristen here, who can make sure you get that summary if you'd like to see it. And then next Sunday on April 5th, the search committee will have a drop-in after the service in the window room if you'd like to come and ask any questions. Perhaps you missed last week's open forum that we had discussing the search, so search team members will be available after the service next Sunday. And then finally, on another note, next week starts our stewardship campaign for 2026. So you'll be getting an email this week with information all about that.
So we have one more announcement this morning from Russell Scott. Okay, you are invited to attend an open mic for musicians, singers, and spoken word poets in Whitten Hall, organized by Russell. No charge. Come out and perform or just be in the audience. It's open to the congregation and general public. Help for setup is gratefully needed. Please talk to Ellen Forrester at Coffee Downstairs to volunteer. And Russell points out it's this Friday, April 3rd, which is Good Friday, and adds, we think Jesus would not mind. Okay, now let us let go for just a time of the everyday world. Now is a good time to turn off your cell phones. Let us breathe together. Let us create a space in this hour with our honored guests, simply to be together. In the spirit of life and love we gather. May the experience of this time of adventure and learning together prove useful. Please rise in body and spirit as you are able to sing our opening hymn, number 159.
Song of peace for
Let this flame be a symbol to us of the wholeness we seek.
Its brightness dispelling gloom, lighting a path to faith and hope.
Its glow reminding us of the sacred bond which links us to all people.
Its radiance calling us to seek justice, equity, and compassion for all the world.
Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in harmony with the earth. Thus do we covenant together. It's time for children of all ages to come forward. Story with Lisa. So hang up, cover.
So today's story is called The Most Magnificent Team, and it's by Ashley Spires. We'll see what the Magnificent Team does today. This is a girl and her best friend in the whole wide world. For those in the back, it's a little dog. They do all kinds of things together. They stroll, they help, they snack, and they dream of things to build. The girl loves to make things. Some days it's hard to come up with ideas, but today is not one of those days. The girl knows exactly what she wants to build. She gathers up her supplies, calls to her trusty assistant, and heads to her out-of-the-way workspace, only to discover that someone else is there first. Hello. Hi. Looks like she also has an assistant. This one's a cat. The girl usually has the space to herself, but it might be nice to have another maker around. When she explains what she's going to make, the new neighbor thinks it sounds great, and the girl has another magnificent idea. Do you want to make it together? Sure. The neighbor starts by adding some ideas to the girl's plan. The girl starts to wonder what she's gotten herself into. She didn't know that working with someone else would involve changes. But she has to admit the ideas are interesting, and her assistant hardly approves, so she agrees to the new plan. They divide up the work. The girl grabs her tools and starts cutting, hammering, and gluing while the neighbor considers, measures, and calculates. When they check in on each other's progress, they are both shocked. The girl's creation looks nothing like the design, and it turns out the neighbor hasn't even started building yet. The neighbor offers some advice on how the girl could improve her part. The girl is pretty sure she doesn't need to improve it. After all, she's the one who thought of it. And anyway, at least she actually built something. The neighbor says something about always measuring twice and cutting once. But that sounds like it'll take way too long. Maybe that's how the neighbor makes things, but the girl likes to do it her own way. She grabs her tools and, much to the neighbor's dismay, plows ahead. When she is finished, the neighbor examines it for a moment before telling the girl that the screws are uneven, the joints don't line up, and she really should have waited to the end to paint. You can see the project. Yeah. It's interesting. The girl doesn't care how the thing looks. What matters is how it works. The neighbor wonders how anyone is going to use it if they can't tell what it is. The neighbor has an idea. Maybe this piece should be over here. The girl thinks that that piece is exactly where it should be. The neighbor really wants to move it. The girl really does not. The neighbor insists her idea will make it better. But that's impossible, since the girl's idea is already the best, and you can't make the best better. It's already the best. The neighbor finally concedes. That piece doesn't have to move, as long as they start the whole thing over again, so that they can add a section at the end with rope. What does she say? Yeah, no! Nothing needs to change. They don't need to start again. And the girl absolutely does not need to work with anyone else. Fine. Fine. They each get to work, building their own projects without getting in each other's way. The neighbor considers and assembles. The girl tinkers and tightens, until they finally stop to admire their work. They had both been hoping for something a little more than and a lot more wow. You can see they're tossing away the projects they've just made. Suddenly, they get a most magnificent idea. They make plans, build parts, and talk through problems as a team. When the girl gets frustrated, she asks the neighbor for help. When the neighbor feels stuck, the girl is there to share ideas. And when they disagree, they take a breath. They consult their assistants, then work together to come up with a whole new solution. When they are finally finished building, their creation is even more magnificent than either could have imagined. Can you see what the creation is? They promise to meet up again tomorrow, and their creation is a beautiful house that the cats on the street are loving going into this little apartment. They might do things differently, and they'll probably disagree sometimes, but they know that whatever they make together is sure to be magnificent. Thank you for joining me for the story.
Work that we do here, the life that we share here, depends on the free will offerings of members and friends. We recognize that people contribute to this community in many ways, and not always on Sunday. Many among us donate through pre-authorized donations and e-transfer, and by sharing time and talent within this community. I support this community because I love the quality of hospitality that I have found within small working groups, such as the choir, the refugee concerns group, and the hospitality team downstairs that serves coffee. We are a self-sustaining community, and by your gift, you signify the value which you place on this spiritual home. If you are a visitor to the church today, let the basket pass Your presence here is gift enough, and thank you for your generous support of this community.
Some hands have held the world together. Some hands have fought in wars forever. Oh, tell me, what shall I do with these hands of mine? Some hands have blessed 1,000,000 people. Some hands helped free the world from evil. Tell me, what shall I do with these hands of mine? What shall I do with these hands of mine? What shall I do with these hands of mine? The world could use a hero of the humankind. So tell me, what shall I do with these hands of mine? Some hands can stop a life from dying. Some hands comfort a baby crying. So tell me, what shall I do with these hands of mine? What shall I do with these hands of mine? What shall humankind. So tell me, what shall I do with these hands of mine? I wanna sing it from my heart. I wanna hear it in the wind till it blows around the world and comes back again. All that we can ask is for ours to be free, to use them when we want, for whatever the need. Some hands give voice to a nation. Some hands wrote the times they are a-changin'. So tell me, what shall I do with these hands of mine? What shall I do with these hands of mine? What shall I do with these hands of mine? The world could use a hero of the humankind. So tell me, what shall I do with these hands of mine? So tell me, what shall I do with these hands of mine? What shall I do with these hands of mine? The world could use a hero of the humankind. So tell me, what shall I do with these hands of mine? So tell me, what shall I do with these hands of mine?
Thanks, Jay. I have an acid test for music that moves me, and that's when I move to tears. Thank you, Jay. We have many things to contemplate, and the next thing that we can contemplate is the responsive reading number 657 in your gray books, if you would like to follow along, or join me on the italicized verses. That's 659 in the gray book. Sorry? Oh, shoot, sorry, 657. It's a day like that. Okay, 657. It matters what we believe. Some beliefs are like walled gardens. They encourage exclusiveness and the feeling of being especially privileged. Other beliefs are expansive and lead the way into wider and deeper sympathies. Some beliefs are like shadows, clouding children's days with fears of unknown calamities. Other beliefs are like sunshine, blessing children with the warmth of happiness. Some beliefs are divisive, separating the saved from the unsaved, friends from enemies. Other beliefs are bonds in a world community where sincere differences beautify the pattern. Some beliefs are like blinders, shutting off the power to choose one's own direction. Other beliefs are like gateways, opening wide vistas for exploration. Some beliefs weaken a person's selfhood. They blight the growth of resourcefulness. Other beliefs nurture self-confidence and enrich the feeling of personal worth. Some beliefs are rigid, like the body of death, impotent in a changing world. Other beliefs are pliable, like the young sapling, ever growing with the upward thrust of life.
In challenging times like these, a sense of community is so important. One of the ways that we strengthen the bounds of this community is through the sharing of joys and sorrows. You're invited to come up and light a candle to represent your joy or sorrow. And if you wish, you may come to the mic and in a one-breath sharing, let us know what's in your heart. Let us light this first candle, that there may be peace in our hearts, so that there can be peace in the world.
My name is Art. I have a joy to share this morning. Last evening we had the opportunity to see the University of Waterloo choir sing in Waterloo at First United Church. One of my daughters is an adult member of the choir, but the thing that always inspires me when I see choirs, including the choir here, is how happy and joyful everybody is while they're singing. The smiles are just contagious.
Good morning, I'm Anne, and along with Colin and our colleague Aidan, we just wanted to welcome our youth group to church today. They're here with us today. It was Bring a Friend Day. Sadly, the friends were not able to come, but it's nice to have them here. And we've also welcomed Simone, who is sort of like a junior youth member. We've invited some young people to join us today to see what the youth group is all about. And they're really excited to meet with the Muslim women downstairs as well and share with their youth leader a little bit about what we do and what they do. And we also are very proud because Quinn and Isabel are co-deans for the Canoodle Conference in Vancouver this year, which means they're in charge. And we're really, really pleased for them as well.
Good morning, I'm Jessica. I lit a candle of concern for my mom who got some poor health news this week, so if you can keep her in your thoughts, I'd appreciate it.
Just so glad the Coalition of Muslim Women are here today. I've been so graciously invited into faith communities, and I'm grateful that you've been welcomed into ours.
I'm Kathy, and I lit a candle for my friend Angela in Toronto, who is in palliative care, and quite suddenly, I'm keeping her in mind.
Good morning, my name is June, and I lit a candle for all the women guests that are here today. I have to tell you, I've done many activities with these women. I so admire them, and I call them my sisters.
I lit a candle this morning for my friend Anne, a dear friend who has kidney failure and is in hospice, and I'm struggling to how to deal with it, and it's really sad for me, and I just, I don't know what to say, yeah.
I had a dance competition this weekend. I got to perform at the Center in the Square Friday and Saturday, which was pretty cool. And I did pretty good, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. And also, I'm doing co-dean stuff for Canoodle with my homeboy Quinn, and yeah, that's been pretty fun as well, so I'm doing good.
Good morning, I'm Lynn. I lit a candle for my eldest sister, Eileen. She's about to start treatment for breast cancer.
Hi everyone, I'm Anna. I lit a candle for my aunt's mom and a friend's mom who both just recently passed away this past week. And I also lit a candle for my daughter who won a race, ice skating race, this on Friday. So I'm really proud. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Carol. I just wanted to light a candle for of joy, of persistence and community. which we have so much of here, so many examples of all the ups and downs in people's lives, but they keep supporting each other. And my dad called me from church this morning. For those who don't know, it's been a real journey, and it was really so much to get him there, and he's now in community, and I feel so grateful to have had that modeled so that I sought it out in my life too.
We'll light a final candle for all the joys and concerns that are left in our hearts.
The reflective meditation today offers a reading with questions for us. It is adapted from the words of a local editor who took in a series of drafts of a few dozen stories of a diverse network of Muslim women, all connected to the coalition in some way, who had agreed to tell their stories. Understandably nervous about telling their stories to a mainstream public, these local Muslim women were encouraged by friends and colleagues to voice the struggles and joys of their lives in preparation for a public website called Muslima. So stopped in her tracks by what she had read in the months before the website went public, and moved by the enormity of what she had learned, the editor commented on her own sense of all that she had absorbed. Her observations went like this. What does it feel like to move from country to country, fleeing war and social turmoil, or in pursuit of better opportunities for your families? How does it feel to look back one last time, leaving aging mothers and fathers and beloved siblings behind? How can the women who tell these stories find the words they want to say when language learning and the simple fact of their clothing choices can provoke insult, scorn, or even injury? And finally, she commented, how does it feel to become frozen into a snapshot that others simply stare at?
morning. Can everybody hear me well? Back? Yeah? What a beautiful, mesmerizing service. I promise I thought I'd look at my notes. I thought I will check my cell phone during the service. I couldn't. I was completely taken over by the beauty of the service, and thank you for the committee who organized it. Beautiful song, Jay. It will stay in my heart for a very long time. Thank you. Everything has been so beautiful. Thank you. I feel honored to be part of this service, not just because I'm here as a guest or as a visitor, but also being able to witness how the community is coming together here through this beautiful service and beautiful words that are more sort of global in nature. They are over the boundaries of national origins, nationalities, and cultures, and everything that divides us in a lot of ways. That was sort of more my reflections on the service itself. And I would like to start my actual speech with greetings of peace to all Unitarians. And of course, I'm very grateful for the invitation to join into this conversation that Christa, Corliss, the whole service has been directing towards. Your representatives, if I call them, Christa and Corliss, and I think Linda and Betty, Kathy, Betty, yes, they asked a question that sits in my chest and in the work that we do every day. How do we stay put, live our values, and keep going when despair, powerlessness, and division feel overwhelming? I took this as a question, stayed with me from the days that we met first time up to yesterday at least. I want to speak from the heart, just like you sang from your heart, Joe. Not as a speaker, but as someone who cares about, not as a speaker, but someone who cares about our hearts, everybody's heart here. But who also know that if I start speaking, someone in the back will fall asleep before I get to the good part. Hence, I've chosen to speak from prepared notes. But before I speak about anything else, I want to begin with the compass that guides me. The thing I return to again and again when I feel overwhelmed by the world or unsure of the next steps. There is a verse in Muslims' holy text, Quran, that sits very deep in me. It's from a chapter or surah which is titled Al-Nur. The verse that I'm talking about ends on these words. It's in Arabic. Wama ala rasuli illa al-balagul mubin. What it means? The messenger's duty is only to deliver the message clearly. Let it sit with you. It's not just one verse. Throughout the Quran, the Prophet is reminded, gently but repeatedly, that his responsibility is balagh, to convey, to communicate, to make the message clear. Not to force beliefs, not to change hearts, and not to carry the burden of outcomes. This sits deep with me. You may ask why. Because it frees me. It reminds me that my job, our job, is to show up with clarity, sincerity, and courage. to speak from the heart, to open the table, to invite conversations, and then to trust. That's very important, that we trust that people will take what they are ready to take in their own time. If I had to change every heart, I would never sleep. None of us would. But delivering the message, showing up with integrity, that we can do. That is within our reach. This teaching has become my anchor for my life. It shapes me how I lead, how I speak, how I show up in the community. It is the foundation of everything I'm sharing with you today. And now, I promise, I won't talk for too long. Although, again, those who know me in this crowd will tell you that when I say that, it usually means get comfortable. So let me talk a little bit about spiritual grounding across traditions. And I'm talking about only Judeo-Christian Muslim traditions. Not all the faith are included, or Abrahamic faith, as we say. I'm going towards that. I shared a teaching from my own faith before, and now there is, I find, a similar tenderness in the Jewish Council. And I got this, I just learned about this through the Interfaith Breakfast invitation. It's their theme, and I'm stealing their theme for a good purpose. I would like a lot of you to come to the Interfaith Breakfast this year as well. It's a beautiful theme and very similar patterns. Joe and I were talking about this earlier, how it's not just the Grand River Unitarians, not just us at Coalition of Muslim Women, not just this faith tradition. It's sort of a pattern of weariness and concerns and sort of feeling down throughout that we're seeing, and we're struggling with it individually as well as collectively in groups and communities. We don't know how to respond to them. We're trying to do the best that we can, but we also feel a lot of weight or burden of what we are seeing around. How do we deal with it? We don't know. The best we can do is we can come together and have gatherings like this. So Interfaith Breakfast this year is going to be another gathering like this. So going back, the Jewish Council that I was talking about, which is the theme this year for Interfaith Breakfast, is do not be daunted by the enormity of the task. You are not obligated to finish the work, not to worry about outcomes. But neither are you free to abandon it. It's not that you don't take any action. I love this one because it basically says, do your part and then please go drink some water and rest. But do your part first. Yeah? And from the Christian traditions, we hear the call to love our neighbor and to be peacemakers, and the encouragement not to grow weary in doing good. Beautiful words. Even if some days we feel, or at least I feel weary before breakfast as I watch or listen to CBC. It's not easy, but we have to. Put together, these spiritual threads give us a simple ethic. Offer the message, tend the relationships, keep doing the good that builds community. So let me take you back in time a little bit. It's early spring of 2010. Bill 94, predecessor of the laicity law now in Quebec, had raised its ugly head. Disguised in the robe of secularism, its stated purpose by those pushing it was to ban Muslim women who wear niqab, face covering, from obtaining or delivering government services, such basic services as healthcare and access to childcare, daycare. This bill has enormous support in Quebec. According to one survey, 95% of Quebecers backed it. But also in the rest of Canada, which usually you wouldn't find sort of not so much on the same page when it comes to Quebec's politics. So the same survey put the support for this bill at 75% of the rest of Canada. It wasn't just the bill, it has given rise to very harmful and hurtful narrative in the public discourse about Muslim women in general. I would say Muslims in general, but Muslim women in particular. So, when Bill 94 and the public conversation around it made Muslim women feel devalued and misrepresented at that time of despair and hopelessness, a group of local women decided to respond, not by shutting down or shouting, but by opening the table. That was the beginning of CMW. These women organized Let Us Talk at Kitchener City Hall, our public space, a public forum where neighbors could come, listen, ask questions, and meet Muslim women as whole people. We didn't have a communication strategy. We didn't have a media plan. We barely had a room booking. What we had was courage, and of course, a lot of tea. People came with real questions, some thoughtful, some awkward, and some that made us think, oh, you really asked that out loud? But we stayed, we listened, and we answered with as much grace as we could find in broken English at many tables. What mattered that night, that day, was not a single victory or a perfect answer. What mattered was the practice. We offered our stories, we listened, and we kept showing up after that too. Choosing to call people rather than to call them out became a habit at CMW that shaped everything that we followed. So now let me take you to January of 2017. After the mosque shooting in Quebec on January 29th, 2017, a terrible day that took lives and left families grieving. Our community was stunned. There was fear, anger, but also a painful backlash. But there was also a deep human response from our neighbors. People wanted to reach out. From that sorrow came Salam KW, Salam Canada campaign. Salam, I hope everyone knows, Salam is greetings of peace, and it's the universal hello for Muslims around the world. We baked thousands of cookies, maybe a couple thousands, I'm exaggerating. At some point, the kitchens we were using looked like a cookie factory run by very determined aunties of all backgrounds, fully supported by their children and children of their children in some cases, of all ages and all genders. These cookies were then distributed in public spaces, schools, neighborhoods, with a simple message attached to them. Thank you for making KW home. And you know what? Our neighbors loved it. Some even gave us cookies back. I'm serious, which honestly felt like winning. It was a small act in form, but huge in meaning. Grief turned into a public gesture of belonging. We are here. We are going to be here. It's our place. It's our home. We're not the other. We're part of this place, this community, everything. We're not going away. So it reminded us that when we show up with simple kindness, we can change the tone of community. If we show belongingness, if we have the ownership that we belong here, that brings people together in a very different way. Practicing our values, that's what we have been doing, although imperfectly, but consistently. So these stories are not exceptional because they were grand. They're important because they were ordinary acts repeated over times. They show how women choose courage over fear, responsibility over retreat, connections over isolation. They show how people who did not wait, until they had perfect English, perfect confidence, or perfect strategies, simply began with their values: dignity, respect, curiosity, and courage, and practiced them until those values shaped not only their work, but their ways of being. If we had waited for perfection, what do you think? We would still be waiting. Probably in a WhatsApp group, internal insight, arguing about the date of the first meeting. Right? So we must be honest about the world we are practicing in, we're living in, we're breathing in. The political and social climate right now is frightening for many people. We heard it this morning. That was the motivator behind GRU, Grand River Unitarian, starting Defending Democracy group. And as I said earlier, it looks like a theme right now, right? The political and social climate right now is frightening. Let's accept it. We see the rise of anti-democratic, far-right movements. We watch wars and their terrible human cost. The war in Gaza and the widening regional war now, targeting Iran and Lebanon. The ongoing war in Ukraine, violent conflicts in Sudan and Congo, just to name a few. We see the spread of hateful language and targeted violence against racial and religious minorities here around us in Canada, in North America. We see the corrosive effects of colonization, both historical and ongoing. We see high-profile scandals. I'm not going to mention Epstein, something like that, Epstein. So we see high-profile scandals and abuse of power from people who we, the masses, choose to rule us. We see this, and what it does, it erodes trust in the system, democratic system, where we've been told for a very long time that we matter most. Some days reading the news feels like drinking 10 cups of coffee and then immediately regretting all 10. You don't want to. Read 10 different articles, please. If you're feeling overwhelmed, you're not alone. And if you're not feeling overwhelmed, please tell us your secret. And yet, we do not have the option to be daunted. We must come together at the communal level, like we are here today. We must understand one another, like what we are trying to do today. We must stand shoulder to shoulder against injustice, against war, against violence, against hate. And please know that shoulder to shoulder used here is not the English expression originated in the military. I try my best not to use the language that is originated in military in my everyday conversation, but it's unbelievable how many times I catch myself using that language. It's just so much in our everyday language, the phrases and the language that has been originated in wars that are military, so I try my best. So this shoulder to shoulder for me refers to the fundamental principle of congregational prayer in Islam, where people stay shoulder to shoulder. It signifies physical and spiritual unity. And we also must call in people, invite them to the table, listen to them, learn from each other. And at the same time, calling in is not enough. At the same time, we should know we also need to call out. So who are we calling out? We're calling out systems and institutions that are responsible for harm. Calling people in doesn't mean we suddenly become saints. It just means we take a deep breath before responding, and sometimes two. So you ask, what keeps us steady? Here are a few things that keep us steady at CMW. As I said before, calling people in, make curiosity your default. Ask brave questions that invite reflections rather than defensiveness. Tend relationships as civic infrastructure. Share meals. Shared meals are powerful. You can't hate someone who just handed you a warm samosa with tamarind chutney. Cookies do the work too. So the next is do the inner work so the outer work is sustainable. Protect yourself, right? Rest is not optional, it's a must. Rejuvenating yourself is the key to success. We are in this game. We didn't start it, but we are in this game for a very, very, very long time. Longer than our lifetimes, perhaps. Pair care with civic action. Tell their stories, but also document them, as Christa was talking about earlier. Create those pieces. Report them. Use them to push for concrete change. Call in people to call out systems. Think of this work like planting an orchard. You plant, you water, you wait, and you hope the squirrels don't eat everything. You do your work. There's harm in the environment. It's a joke, but it also reminds us that we do our best. We're not responsible for everything, but we do our best. Some seasons are dry. Some seasons are going to be abundant. Over time, the harvest becomes communal. not the product of a single heroic act, but of many, many small, faithful ones. And my call to action today, from my heart to yours, in the face of fear and despair, choose courage. In the face of powerlessness, choose responsibility. In the face of division, choose connection. Call people in, but call out the systems that harm. Tend your neighbors and your own capacity. Tell your stories with courage and listen with humility. Speak up to challenge the status quo, and do it in ways that build relationships, rather than burn bridges when bridges are what we need. We're not required to finish the work. We're not required to finish the work. We're only required to keep showing up. Today, Coalition is showing up here, and GRU is showing up here. So next, I would like to invite you to the tea and tales downstairs before you leave. If you can, as Christa already has given you a lot of information. It's warm, it's friendly, and yes, there is tea, and there are treats, including cookies. We never forget about them. And we know how to motivate people. What Tea and Tales is, it's a culture, we call it a culture, sort of cafe-style gathering. Table host today at CMW board, staff and board members. Generally, we have volunteers from the community. They will share some personal stories and also reflection on building and living CMW. You will have time to ask questions and connect. There are a little bit of conversation guidelines. Be curious, but try not to be confrontational. Listen first. Save unrelated questions for the large group, question answers if we can. If we have time, there might be a debrief. Not, then we will be available after that if people reach out to us individually as well. Christa and others have our contact information. Sensitive questions you don't want to ask in public, like those questions that I talked about. You really said this out loud. Write them on a card, okay? And if it is very sensitive, fold the card twice so that we never open it. Oh, okay. So what Tea and Tales is not. It's not a place for theological debates or political campaigning, current affairs, wars, that sort of stuff. The goal is personal stories and mutual understanding. Pair care with civic action. There's one more thing that I would love you to do under pair care with civic action. We have the 2025 hate reporting survey here, both in the paper form and as well as QR code. If you want to pair listening with action today, please fill out this survey. You can do it today at the tables or online by March 31st. And think of it as your good deed for today. It takes less time than finding parking. Seriously. Come with an open heart, a listening ear, and a readiness to be changed by someone else's story, either today or sometime else down the line. These small, ordinary acts of sharing are how we build trust and keep hope alive. Thank you for your hearts. Thank you for your courage. And thank you for showing up. Let us go forward together.
Yes, please. So we will extend those conversations downstairs, but first, please join us in singing I Wish I Knew How, 151. Let us extend our conversation and our friendship in a few moments. And we'll go in peace and carry the flame.
Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. Then we shall see a world of light and a world of joy. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again.
Let the people say,
Amen.